They kept me safe in the darkness of a chest, next to old things no one needed anymore. I was a memory of a son they believed was dead. But my story began one morning when 17-year-old Joseph put me on. He believed the world was waiting for him.
Joseph's father, the head of the clan, had me made separately. He chose the threads himself. The dye, too. The long sleeves were a message. Father knew this boy was special, and I was his greatest gift. Long sleeves are not fashion. They are a language. Hands in long sleeves do not dig ditches. They do not come back at dinner smelling of sheep. Hands in long sleeves count, plan, and look ahead.
Father did not single Joseph out because he loved the others less. He saw a quick mind.
At 12, Joseph asked questions his brothers could not answer at 25. That is annoying, especially when you are the older one, when everyone expects wisdom from you, and beside you stands the little one, and he has already worked it all out, and I was on his shoulders too. It is not my fault I was well made, while they walked around in rough cloth.
Yes, that is exactly where the trouble began.
The brothers came back from the pastures in the evening. First the footsteps, then the voices, then the smell. Sheep, earth, smoke, sweat. The normal smell of men who had worked all day.
One day, Simeon said to Levi, thinking no one would hear him, "Father left him at home again today." "He always leaves him," Levi answered. "At his age, I had already been going to the fields for 3 years." Then Levi fell silent, but the way he fell silent said everything.
So they were jealous. Fine. Jealousy scratches worse than camel hair, but that was their problem, not ours.
It was not only their problem. The older brothers had wives, children. They looked at your long sleeves and counted, not the beauty, land, tents, flocks, everything this boy might one day take into his hands.
But that was not certain yet.
For them, it was enough that it was possible.
The dreams were a whole separate story. He told the first one right there at the table, to the whole family at once. "I had a dream," Joseph said. "We were binding sheaves in the field. My sheaf stood up, and yours gathered around it, and bowed down." Silence. Judah slowly put his bread back down. "So what?" Simeon said. "Are you going to rule over us?" And Joseph just shrugged, as if to say, "I did not invent it." That was when I thought, now that is a proper dream.
No one laughed. A dream is not always just a dream. Joseph knew that, and he told it anyway. I felt something crack.
Then came the second dream. The sun, the moon, and the stars bowing down to him. Even Father frowned. "What kind of dream is this?" he said. "Will your mother and I, and your brothers, really come and bow down to the ground before you?" Joseph only shrugged again. The brothers left in silence. Outside the tent, Levi said, "Is he serious?" Reuben answered, "He is always serious. That is the problem."
After the second dream, they stopped talking to him, completely. When he entered, they fell silent. When he left, they spoke. Joseph pretended not to notice. Maybe he really did not notice. He was a smart boy, but being smart does not mean you see what you do not want to see.
Well, I did not notice either. We were 17. What can I say? He was sharp, always thinking, always working something out. One evening, he was talking with Father. "If we drive the flocks through the northern pass," Joseph said, "we save 3 days and lose fewer animals in the heat." Father nodded. Then he called the older brothers over. "Listen to Joseph." Reuben listened. "We have always gone the other way," he said. "So what?" Joseph answered. "That does not mean it is right." Reuben said nothing, but his jaw tightened. like this. Another time, Joseph counted the wool for sale and worked out how much they could earn if they sold directly to the traders and skipped the middlemen. Smart, Father said, but I was beginning to understand something. Every time Father said, smart, one of the older brothers heard something else. Not you.
And while Joseph did not notice, the brothers were counting.
I thought they could see he had a mind, that they would value it. Being young does not mean being wrong.
They saw something else. A 17-year-old teaching his elders, Father approving. That meant influence.
I did not mean to.
They did not care.
Father sent us to see how the brothers were doing. Joseph hurried, threw me over his shoulders, and set off. He walked along to himself. The air was fresh. The sun was not burning yet. What could possibly happen?
The brothers were not in Shechem. Some man on the road told him, "They have gone to Dothan." He only pointed the way. He did not know he was pushing the wheel forward. They saw us from far away. "Look," Simeon said. "Here comes the dreamer." They had enough time to discuss everything before Joseph came near.
Joseph raised his hand to greet them, warmly, honestly. But they stood too still, too quiet, huddled together. And then suddenly, hands. They grabbed him, threw him down, dragged him. "What are you doing? Let me go! I am your brother!" he shouted. No one answered. They tore me off first. My seams strained. Then I fell to the ground, me, into the dirt.
The pit looked bottomless. Reuben stood apart from the others. "Reuben," Simeon said, "are you with us or against us?" "I am with you," Reuben answered, "but no killing. Let him sit down there."
Joseph shouted their names from the darkness. "Reuben! Judah! Simeon!" No one even came to the edge. I still do not understand how that is possible.
Once a choice is made, men do not come close to the edge.
Judah noticed a Midianite caravan. "What do we gain by killing him?" he said. "He is our brother, our own flesh. Better to sell him." "How much can we get?" Levi answered at once. "We will bargain," Judah said.
They pulled Joseph up.
20 pieces of silver. Judah counted the coins and divided them in silence. When the trader grabbed Joseph by the wrist, Joseph suddenly went quiet. That was when he understood. They had already crossed the line. They had cut him out of the family. 20 pieces of silver, and the younger brother became a stranger.
Reuben came back too late. He looked into the pit, empty. He tore his robe. He had meant to fix everything secretly, but he did not make it in time.
They lifted me from the dust. I understood everything as soon as their hands reached for me. They dipped me in goat's blood. Warm, sticky. I had been a work of art. Now I was evidence. "Let's go," Judah said.
The road back to Father's house took hours of silence. All 10 of them walked in it. Each man had his own excuse stuck in his throat. That silence became the thread that tied them together for decades.
Is that really all there is?
Father kept me. He rarely took me out. He held me in his hands, looked at me, put me back. The last thing left of his son. That is what he thought.
But I had been on the living boy when they took him away.
We did not see the prisons. We did not see the triumph of the sold boy who became second in Egypt. The brothers thought this was the end of the story. Only later would it become clear. Sometimes the end looks like the end because you have not seen the next page yet.
That is irony, I suppose. Still do not know how it happened.
Things do not always understand what they have seen.
Wise.
Finally, you noticed.